The United States put on a show of force with an elephant walk of bombers on its Air Force base in Guam after China threatened Taiwan with an aircraft carrier and strike group over the weekend. On Monday, the Andersen Air Force Base, which is about 1,800 miles east of China, flexed its military strength with at least a dozen aircraft from the U.S. Navy and Air Force. An elephant walk is a procession of military aircraft taxiing close in formation right before a minimum interval takeoff. According to the aviationist, the procession included a Navy MH-60S Nighthawk, Air Force RQ-4 Global Hawk, 5 Air Force B-52 Stratofortress bombers and 6 KC-135 Stratotankers. The elephant walk came just days after China sent an aircraft carrier and fighter jets close to Taiwan. Taiwan's defense ministry said the Liaoning, China's first operational aircraft carrier, and 5 accompanying warships passed first through the Miyako Strait, located between Japan's islands of Miyako and Okinawa, to the northeast of Taiwan, on Saturday. On Sunday, the carrier group, which included 2052D guided missile destroyers, the Xining and Guiyong, 2054A guided missile frigates, the Saoht and Rizhao, and supply ship, the Hulunhu, sailed in waters on Taiwan's east coast and then into seas to the south of Taiwan, carrying out exercises, the ministry said. Taiwan's armed forces monitored the carrier group's progress throughout and completed relevant actions in response to ensure national security and protect regional peace and stability. There was no immediate response from China's defense ministry. The USS Roosevelt and USS Ronald Reagan are the only 2 U.S. carriers in the Pacific, but both have been forced to dock due to confirmed coronavirus cases on board, which effectively gives China free range in the region. The Liaoning, which can carry up to 24 J-15 fighter jets, is currently the only aircraft carrier active in the Western Pacific. The USS Roosevelt, which is currently docked in Guam, reported its first death of a sailor who previously tested positive for the virus on Monday. Nearly 600 sailors on the aircraft carrier have now tested positive for COVID-19, with about 92% of the ship's crew having been tested. Officials said the USS Reagan is currently docked in Yokosuka, Japan, for maintenance, but crew members have also reported coronavirus cases on board. The U.S. military has also been active in waters near Taiwan recently. A U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer sailed through the Taiwan Strait on Friday, the same day that Chinese fighter jets drilled in waters close to the island last month. U.S. warship USS McCampbell sailed through the Taiwan Strait. The guided missile destroyer had transited the strait on a routine mission through the waterway, according to Taiwan's defense ministry. The potential crippling of the U.S. Navy in the Pacific is alarming news given escalating tensions between Beijing and Washington in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Beijing and Washington have traded bards over the origin of the coronavirus, with President Donald Trump angering Beijing by calling it the China virus. Senior Chinese officials have also spread conspiracy theories about the virus origin. China has sent an aircraft carrier battle group to the East and South China Seas, according to statements from governments in the region and satellite imagery. The maneuvers come at a time of increasing tension in the South China Sea and an announcement of China's recent sinking of a Vietnamese fishing vessel by members of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee. China's naval exercise with the Liaoning aircraft carrier was first reported by Japan's military on Friday. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force said the Liaoning, accompanied by a battle group of 2 destroyers, 2 frigates, and a support vessel passed through the Miyako Strait, between Okinawa and the Miyako Islands, on the day. Satellite imagery shows the Liaoning at its home port of Qingdao as of April 5, along with a Type 901 supply ship, a relatively new class of vessel for replenishing combat ships at sea. Last Wednesday, both sailed out of port and reappeared east of Shanghai, in the East China Sea, on Friday, along with escorts. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense said Sunday the Liaoning battle group was observed moving off the island of Taiwan's eastern coast down to its southern coast. A Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy spokesperson later confirmed the Liaoning and its battle group was engaged in a naval exercise at the Miyako Strait, the Bashi Channel south of Taiwan, and in the South China Sea. The ships were identified as two Type 052D guided missile destroyers, two Type 054A guided missile frigates, and a Type 901 support vessel. This coincides with naval maneuvers in the region by the United States. The U.S. Navy sailed a destroyer through the Taiwan Strait on Friday, Reuters reported, and the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force conducted a bilateral exercise with the U.S. in the East China Sea on Friday and Saturday. All this takes place in the aftermath of the April 2 sinking of a Vietnamese fishing vessel in a confrontation with the China Coast Guard ship near the disputed Paracel Islands, which China maintained was the fault of the Vietnamese vessel. The incident drew criticism from the U.S. State and Defense Departments, Vietnam itself and the Philippines on Friday. A bipartisan group of senior U.S. lawmakers joined the chorus of disapproval. Leading figures from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Republican Chairman Jim Risch, top-ranking Democrat Robert Menendez, and Republican Asia Subcommittee Chairman Cory Gardner and his Democratic counterpart, Ed Markey, sued a strongly worded statement over the vessel sinking and China's reported deployment of military aircraft in the South China Sea. The reports of a Chinese Coast Guard vessel sinking a Vietnamese fishing vessel and China's other activities on illegally reclaimed features in the South China Sea are deeply concerning, said Risch. These are just the latest examples of the Chinese Communist Party's, CCP, blatant intimidation of its neighbors to assert its excessive maritime claims. The CCP is undermining regional stability at a time when the international community should be coming together to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. Menendez echoed that sentiment and said, China's continued divisive and aggressive behavior in the South China Sea is deplorable. He added, I strongly believe that the United States must stand up and support efforts by regional institutions and our allies and partners to ensure freedom of navigation and economic opportunity throughout the entire Indo-Pacific. On the same day the Liaoning was sailing with its escorts north of Taiwan, China conducted an aircraft exercise south of the self-ruled island, over which Beijing claims sovereignty. A Xi'an H-6 bomber, KJ-500 early warning aircraft, and Shenyang J-11 fighter aircraft flew to the southwest of Taiwan, prompting the U.S. Air Force to send a reconnaissance aircraft in the same direction, according to a Taiwanese Ministry of National Defense press release. Meanwhile, Chinese state media was blaming Vietnam for stoking tensions in the South China Sea after Hanoi formally protested the April 2 sinking of its fishing vessel. Without providing any evidence, a commentary in the Global Times claimed that Hanoi was provoking anti-Chinese sentiment to distract from Vietnam's domestic challenges in combating COVID-19.